The next thing we're going to talk about is the safety systems on these units. The fact that if something isn't working right with the safety system, it makes the machine inoperable. That's a lot of times when we as technicians are going to need to get involved. There's really about three basic types of safety switches or safety systems on this machine. One is going to be a emergency stop switch. So that's like this switch up on top of the machine. The other is going to be the photoelectric eyes and also interlock switches. So I'm going to talk about all three of those and show you some of the different types. Okay, the first type of safety you're going to have is an emergency stop switch. So I'm going to put this machine in operation and it's running, and if I hit the emergency stop button, what should happen is all the rollers come up and the motor stops. On this particular unit, this is the Orca 1. In order to reset that, you're going to have to twist the emergency stop button, then you're going to have to hit the roller up position. You'll see the back roller go down, then you hit roller down, and then you're back in operation and you can run again. The Orcas also have a kick cable on them, so it's a yellow cable that runs across, and it's attached with a spring to a little switch down here. So if you hit that kick cable while the machine's in operation, same thing's going to happen. It's going to stop and the rollers are going to come up. So you've got one of those in the front and the back. Not all machines have them. Some of the units are going to have a kick bar. In other words, it's like a tape switch. When you touch it, it engages a switch, but it works pretty much the same way. The next thing we're going to talk about is the photoelectric eyes. This machine has one for the front and the rear because it runs forward and reverse. The one in the front works for when the machine's in forward, and the back one works when it's in reverse. But the way those work, you're going to have a unit like this on the other side, and that's the emitter or transmitter. And that's going to send a light across in front of the rollers, and it's going to be received by this one on this side, which is the receiver. If you want to try and tell which one's the transmitter and which one's the receiver, it's pretty easy. The transmitter's got 2 wires on it, the receiver's got 4 wires. So, and essentially what happens is if the light wave gets broken, then you lose your power, or you lose your connection in the switch inside there, and it stops the motor from running. Now the biggest problems that we see with these, they're usually pretty reliable. The biggest problem that you're going to see is with alignment. So you won't be able to see it here, but on your machine you're going to see a way where you can move that sensor up and down, in and out. But honestly, the most trouble that we have is with the alignment. So if that sensor on the other side is not pointed, or if they're not pointed at each other, that's when you're going to run into problems. So again, like I've said with some of the other things, we see a lot of photo sensors get replaced, but all they are is just out of alignment. And one thing about the Orcas is on some of the older machines you only have one unit here that's a receiver and transmitter, and you basically have what looks like a bicycle reflector on the other side. So it sends out the signal, it bounces off a reflector and comes back, and if it gets blocked, you lose your connection. On the Seal 600, you pretty much have the exact same system. So if my roller is down and my machine is running forward and I go hit one of the emergency stop buttons, rollers come up, machine stops. When you reset this, you twist it, and you won't be able to see it, I'm sure, but there's a little note down here that says you have to reset the safety by turning the power off and back on, and then we'll be able to go back into operation. Other than that, it works exactly the same way as the Orca. And we're also going to skip over the Falcon 60 Plus because it has the exact same safety system in it as well. There is one minor difference I wanted to show you on the Falcon 60 Plus, and that is this blue reset button. So if you hit one of your emergency stops, you're going to have to hit that reset button before the machine will go back into motion. On the Seal 62 Pro, we have something that's not on either of the other machines, and that's an interlock switch. There's a little switch located right here, and it's on a cam with a slot in it. And anytime I raise the feed table past a certain point, it hits that switch, and it's not going to allow the machine to run forward, except for in snail mode. And then also you're going to see these are slightly different type photo sensors, but you got one in the front, one in the back, forward, reverse, and when the light gets blocked from the other side, I don't know if you'll be able to see that or not, but the light goes out. So those are your different types of safety systems and how they will prevent the machine from operating.